Welcome everybody, my name is Justin Conico and welcome to the Ask the Closer Show episode 19. Now we are streaming this live on Facebook and we are doing the recorded video for YouTube as well, so you'll see me kind of jumping back and forth. I am paying attention. If you guys on Facebook have any questions during the episode, let us know. We'll be happy to answer them at the same time. So let's get the show started. We're going to cover a couple things. Normally we go over the latest stats when it comes to housing, kind of what's going on in the marketplace. Cover a couple things locally, kind of what's happening inside and outside of London. You know, we're not just real estate based. I want to showcase a couple other things for you guys at the same time. David Roser, thanks for joining us. I'm actually going to be talking about your property on today's episode as well. And we're going to do a live gift card draw for some brokers that came out to an open house that we had about a week and a bit ago. So let's get started. First and foremost, the LSTAR jurisdiction is actually a pretty large jurisdiction. It covers Elgin County, Huron County, basically all the way from Lake Huron down to Lake Erie, all the way from about Woodstock to Petrolia. We do quite a bit of interboard listings, so depending on what market you're playing in, the stats will be reflective of those markets. It doesn't cover off-market deals, but it really does give you a good perspective of where the trends are going in the marketplace. So, you know, as everybody knows, the last 6 months have been absolutely insane in our market. It's been very, very competitive. Prices are at an all-time high. Inventory is at an all-time low. But there have been some mortgage rule changes that are starting to affect that, and we'll cover that in this episode as well too. So again, if you guys have specific questions about those things, let us know. We'll be happy to answer them. So it's October 31st. Happy Halloween, everybody. There'll be some new stats coming out. We'll be doing a new market update in a couple weeks. But just statistically, we'll reflect on September. Just as that month, there was about 866 homes sold that month, which was actually the best September ever. Normally, the fall market tends to cool down a little bit with the weather. Adam Thompson, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. You know, it starts to cool down around the fall. Usually fourth quarter gets busy up until about Christmas time when everybody's focus shifts and they get into that winter mindset. But fall market's known to be a pretty strong one, and the fact that it's been the best one ever on our board indicates how strong the market actually was. From last year to this year, to give you an idea, the actual sales were up 3.1%. The average price is up 5.2. What's up, Kev Rothwell, all the way from Alberta? So yeah, the price is going up 5.2. If you look at typical appreciation in London, it can be anywhere from 2 to 5%, sometimes more in areas that are up and coming, but 5.2 is a very, very strong increase in price, especially in the last year. The best-selling house type in London is still the two-story, and that is in our jurisdiction, sorry, not just London specifically. Now, to talk about the commercial market, because we always like to touch on that, you know, vacancies downtown are dropping. There's quite, oi, hey buddy, you know, there's quite a bit of stuff happening in the downtown core that people may not be aware of for the next couple years. We've done a couple sales on Dundas of larger buildings, and then there's been quite a few leases in the last couple months. Actually, the 200 block of Dundas, there's, you know, 5 leases that have gone together in a very short period of time. They're all going through build-outs, and you'll see them in the London Free Press all announced within the next 6 months. But really, there's not really any vacancy left on that block. We're moving down the street a little bit to another site at 190 and 188 Dundas. We have 8,000 square feet there, and we're working with Mike Manuel, who's a phenomenal owner, owns a music hall, which is one of the best music venues I've ever seen and been to, sound system wise, how he takes care of it. He bought Nash Jewelers. You can see how all the pieces are starting to come together, and with social services leaving Market Tower in April 2017, I think things are poised for a big upswing. Now that impacts everybody in the surrounding area, because really people that live, work, and play in London can be anywhere and anywhere. Like, they can be up in the Grand Bend area, Bayfield, they can be all the way down in Port Stanley, Elgin County, and they can all interact and intermingle with the community. So when you're seeing good, stable growth happening in our community, a lot of times it expands to all of our other communities, and you know, it trickles down. Hey, Dave Strano, Tyler McTaggart, some good people. Dave Strano, congratulations, my friend, winning top 20 under 40. He actually owns Burrito Boys and is just crushing the burrito game. He's a very, very good owner operator and really, really cares about his product. That's why he's doing so well. We'll touch quickly on the mortgage rule changes. So everybody knows the government imposed some new regulations. There's been some pretty big rule changes. just touch on them really broad scope. If you want specifics, I can put you in touch with some great lenders that can give you some really good advice. But this is really just from a macro perspective so you guys can all understand kind of what's happening. So previously, say you're looking to buy a house and you're looking to put 5% down on the property. You would, even if posted rates are say 2.5, you would actually have to qualify for the insured rate, which would be say 4.5, significantly higher. The reason they make you do that is for mortgage security purposes. So if the taxpayers are taking care of defaults, the CMHC wants to make sure that you can qualify for a higher mortgage so that if, say, rates change or things change in your life, you don't default on the property and burden the taxpayer. Now, where that's changing drastically is before, if you were putting 20% down, you wouldn't necessarily have to qualify for that higher rate. They've changed that. A lot of it's because of what's happening in Toronto and Vancouver and the facts that people are buying $700, $800 million properties and really maxing out what they can afford with 20% down. Well, they're worried about the impact that's going to have if rates did change on such expensive properties that would technically put them under. So they're doing it to kind of balance out the market and think that they're going to change the commodity of real estate. The problem is real estate is more of a microeconomic when it comes to individual ownership. And I mean, from street to street, prices can vary 20 to 30%. So to worry about what's happening in Toronto and Vancouver is going to trickle down and impact people that are getting into the first-time home buyers market, or maybe they qualified for a $350,000 mortgage, and now with the new mortgage rule changes, they're qualifying for $315,000 or $300,000. Our perspective on it is we're fairly conservative agents anyways, so a lot of times when we're working with people, we tell them to maybe shop 20% under what you're actually approved for. Nobody wants to be house poor. You always want to, project where you're going to be in 5 years. City to city, they can change. Jesse, you're absolutely right. They, prices can change pretty dramatically. So, going back to what I was saying, it's going to put a little bit of a damper on the real estate market. The real estate market's going to continue in London and our surrounding areas to be strong because we're, by comparison, a fairly conservative market anyways. So, we're not going to get as blasted as some of the more competitive markets. For buyers out there, it could actually be a good thing because there's less competition going on. For people that are looking to sell, it just means you got to have a little bit more concise strategy. So before, when it was the Wild West and everything was selling over market value in a seller's market purely, you can actually price ahead of the market. That's a strategy that you can use. Now you just need to be more careful about where you're pricing, and if you overprice, that can actually damage your property significantly more. So just make sure you're strategizing, you've got a plan in place, you know what you're doing moving forward, so you're not hurting yourself and costing yourself thousands of dollars. The other mortgage rule change, actually we just sold our personal residence, so I know very closely about this one, is they're now making people declare their primary residence sale as not as a capital gains, but they're making you declare it on your tax form. So if you've sold your house in the last year, make sure you file, I think it's called the number 4 form. Actually, let me pull it up for you really quick. It is Schedule 3 and file it with your T1 income tax. Make sure you do that. If you don't, they're going to consider it a late application. You can get dinged $8,000, or they can charge you, I think, $100 a month until you actually pay it. What's up, Aaron? How are you, buddy? I haven't seen you in a long time. Used to train with Aaron and work with him for a little bit. He's a good dude. Al DeRoche, he is the Canadian treasure hunter. Make sure you go to their Facebook page and like it. Yeah, so going back to the capital gains declaration. So when you get a lot of people that are coming, say, overseas or aren't Canadian residents, they're buying properties, they're flipping them, and then declaring them as their principal residence in Canada. So they're trying to save the capital gains. Capital gains applies when you're making a commercial profit from a property. So what the government's trying to do is hinge that back and make everybody declare what they sold their house at or what their capital gains were, and then give the Canadian taxpayers back their money based on the fact that they're Canadian citizens and it was their principal residences. But we'll see how much this gunks up the system and slows things down, because when you throw in a lot of red tape, sometimes it takes them a long time to process it. I'm curious to see what happens, but the big takeaway is if you sold your house in the last year, make sure you fill out that Schedule 3. Next thing I wanted to touch on today in the market update was something local. So we always like to give a shout out to a local business. There's so many good ones out there. Today we're actually going to do a Facebook group, and it's kind of a nonprofit. So my man Jeremy McCall, years ago when we were having our kids, started a group called Dad Club. It started off really small. There was probably like 7 or 8 of us, and it was just a group for asking questions and getting an understanding of what to do, because babies don't come with instruction manuals like we all know, and sometimes you got questions that you don't just want to put out there to everybody. So, Jeremy, being the social guy he is, with a couple other dudes, grew that group to over 1,600 members really, really quickly. If you're a dad out there in the community, make sure you hit me up or just Google the Dad Club, London, Ontario, join the group. I mean, over the weekend, I had a client that had a large entertainment unit that had to go, and rather than just selling it online, we actually had a bunch of Dad Club guys come out, and we donated it to one of the members. So, sorry about that. I got distracted with the Facebook post. I'll get back to that in a second. It is a community of support. There's no Tupperware parties. There's nobody pitching their wares. I don't even think I've ever mentioned that I'm a real estate agent on there. I've had people give me shout outs on there, and I've had situations where questions have come up and I've answered them, but it's not one of those places where it's push, 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 push. I know, some of the mom clubs out there, that's a lot of the feedback that I get, that everybody wants to throw an Arbor party or whatever it may seem like. But if you're looking for a good support network and you're a dad in the community, feel free to jump over to Dad Club. It is really, really one of the best groups I find in the community, and it's ran by a good group of guys. It's funny, like you'll see random stuff, like all of a sudden a guy will post that there's a crazy deal on drills at Home Depot. I know it doesn't seem like much, but the little things like there throughout the months really do come back to you tenfold. Just want to touch really, really quickly on some inventory that we have coming up. So when I talked about off-market deals, we always like to let people know that we have access to quite a lot of inventory that you don't see on MLS. So whether that be the investment properties, plazas, and whatnot that we're selling, or upcoming inventory. So now's the time of year that you're going to see a lot of agents that are prepping their listings for February. It's beautiful outside, the houses are shooting wonderfully, but sellers may not be in a place where they're ready to move quite yet. So we'll actually take the photos, do the copy, do the listing and everything now, knowing that we're going to be putting on the market come February. So we actually have a couple properties. We have one that's coming up in the northeast section. So if you think like Highbury and Fanshawe Park area, a beautiful 2-story home with a gorgeous lot, very private backyard. It's going to be in the 285 range. If anybody's looking to be in that area, let us know. We can definitely show you that property. And then we have a couple others that are coming up soon. We have one of the nice homes, I think, in Old East Village, a beautiful 2-story right near Queens and Quebec Street, and incredibly well kept. So if somebody's looking to be in the Old East Village area, let us know. We're happy to let you know more about that one. We've also got one of the best properties, I think, on the Huron Coast listed right now. We've got a property on Bayfield Road. It is stunning new construction. Check out the YouTube video that we posted for it. I'm sure you'll be seeing it in your feed as we'll be running the ads over the next little bit. Honestly, I walked into this house, my jaw dropped. I sent my wife a text message of it. I've been showing tons of people pictures of it. It's new construction. It's done to the nines. The design aesthetic of it's great. There's a walk down to the beach right close to it. If anybody's looking to be in that area or have an investment property up there, let me know. I'm happy to show you more about that property and hook up a private showing. That said, we did a broker's open at it. I'm just going to do a live gift card draw for the agents that came out so that they can see that there's no bias. And I love them all, and I appreciate everybody coming to our open houses. So close my eyes and take out the card. And it is Elaine Coons. Great agent up in Bayfield. Congratulations, you won the gift card. I'll be dropping that off later today because I got a showing to go to later, so I'll make sure to drop that off at your office. Claude, good to see you. Matt Armstrong, my old neighbor, miss you, buddy. I hope you guys are doing really, really well. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, I always give a book recommendation. So business model generation. If you own a business or you do some type of business planning or you're thinking of owning a business, this is a great book for you. It's more of a reference manual than it is anything else. But now more than ever, people are able to start businesses and create entire companies from the ground up quicker than they ever were. Like a lot of the old cumbersome companies are losing out to a lot of the faster, more nimble ones. And this is a great book to help you create that framework and identify where you want to go. So whether you're in the personal training business, you're looking to grow that, you're a caterer, you're a real estate agent, anything along those lines, this is probably one of the best reference books I've ever read. So grab it. Feel free to ask me to send you some clips from it too if you're interested. I appreciate all your time as always. If you guys have any questions, let us know. We'll answer them on the next episode. We'll be doing another one of these fairly soon. Greg Rains, another shout out to you, buddy. Appreciate all your time, guys, and I hope you have a wonderful week and Halloween. Take care.